Hello and welcome to my channel, Judy's Creations in Crochet. And today is October the 27th, 2022. And first, we want to talk about my exciting news. Far more exciting than I expected it to be. You remember last week that I was hoping to make 500, and in actual fact, as most of you saw, that by the time this video was uploaded on Thursday, I did make my 500 subscribers. In fact, it happened just before I went to bed the night before. But of course, I already had the video taped and edited, and I couldn't announce it then. But what was really exciting for me is that it went up a few more than 500, of course, during the day Thursday. And Friday, it went up a bit too. And by the end of the day on Friday, I was, up around, was it the 523 or the 533? I can't exactly remember. But I noticed Friday that not only were the subscribers going up, which surprised me, but also my number of viewers. Now, here's a little bit of background. On most of my videos, if you look at, say, the last 3 weeks, I get on average that week about 150 viewers. And when I do a Yarny YouTube hop, I get 270, 80, 90 viewers because they're coming from other channels. And so the numbers get up. And one of my best videos is the Stenley video I did 11 months ago. So it's had 11 months to have more viewers who come along. And I guess Stenley yarn is quite common or well liked. It obviously, people do a search for Stenley, and it got up into about 690 views, which I thought for me was excellent. But I don't know how, by Friday evening, my number of viewers was getting up around 1,000. And Saturday, I sat and watched the statistics. There's a program to watch the statistics just skyrocket. Like, I was in awe. My jaw is on the floor because my subscribers kept going up all day long. I think at the end of the day, they ended up like 598. And since then, the few days since then, I've gone up to 611 as of this taping. And sorry, I got something in there. And the number of viewers kept climbing. 1,100 viewers, 1,200 viewers, 1,800 viewers by the end of the day. So as of this taping, I have 2,000 viewers of that video from last week. And this is astounding to me because I don't know how it was happening. Like Saturday, I could see it just going like this. So I have to think that YouTube was doing something and putting my video out there more. I don't know how that happens, but I do know that in some of the new subscribers in the comments, they were saying, your video came up in my feed today. I've never seen you before. And how did I miss you? You were in my feed. And I was so excited by that. So we're going to talk about that later in the video because, as you know, there's a prize coming. And we'll talk about how excited I was when the time comes. So we're going to move on. I have a lot to cover. This may be a little longer video than usual, but I think it warrants it with all the excitement that I have over that last video, sorry. So I thought, since I have, I'm going to say 125 new subscribers since I last did a video, that I should give them a little bit of background. I am obviously Judy, and I am coming to you from southwestern Ontario in Canada. I think my logo shows that I'm Canadian, and I try to give you Canadian content wherever I can. I would encourage all of those new people to maybe go back to some of my earlier videos and watch some of them, especially my very first video that tells you what my channel is going to be all about. And mostly I started out wanting to show FOs because I had 3 years of accumulation of finished objects for a craft show, and the craft show was canceled and I had nowhere to go with them, and I decided I would start showing them on YouTube. So I still show as many finished objects as I can. And at the time I also said that I wanted to show hand-dyed yarn. And my focus has been hand-dyed yarn, and the focus has grown. I thought I would show it, maybe once a month, but you seem to enjoy it, which surprised me. So I've been purchasing more, mostly because I love it and I love colors, but also because I wanted to show you, my viewers, hand-dyed yarn from various different indie dyers. And again, they're mostly from Canada and the US. I try to focus on Canadian ones, but there are fewer in Canada than there are in the US. It all depends on what the postage is like, if I get them from the States or not. So I've continued to focus on my finished objects, hand-dyed yarn, and I've incorporated showing a whip each week when I can, and various other specialties. And you're going to see one of the special items later in this podcast. So let's move on. So we always start with, what am I wearing? And I have usually 2 dress forms or mannequins in the room that are wearing something as well. So in keeping with the request, I had a request to keep showing the jewelry that I make. So again, this week, my finished object in jewelry is, can you see this piece? Now, I purposely wore this today because 2 weeks ago I wore a longer piece, long, narrow, that had the pink leaves on it. And I said farther on in that same piece, the colors changed because it had sort of a gradient wash over it. And this one has, as you can see, the more orangey, goldy colors, which represent fall, of course, and I'm wearing fall colors today. And so that's the finished piece this week. Again, it's full fused, a dichroic piece with clear glass on it. Now I want to move on to the crocheted items I finished this week. And I'm very proud of the amount of work I got done this week, because we're only going to see things I made this week. And as I mentioned last week, since my friend and I have found a place that would be very happy to get as many shawls as possible, and we want to make enough, maybe enough for every one of the residents. Sorry, my iPad is sitting there. I need it for reference and it rings when email comes in. I've been making shawls, and you're going to see a lot of shawls up until Christmas. So the first shawl I made, I showed you the yarn last week, and it is Northern Lights yarn. It says 1 ball, 1 shawl, but I used 2 balls, made it a good size, and it is 95% acrylic, 5% viscose. It's kind of fleck tweedy, and there's 450 meters or 492 yards in one of the cakes. Now, you saw it, it was blue, and this is the shawl I made. I'll put it back on Faith in a minute, but I wanted to show you something particular about this. I don't know if you can quite see it until I point it out, but I went to make a granny merge shawl, and I've made several granny merge shawls in the past, and you saw this one, I don't know, earlier in the spring. And this is the granny merge. See, it's your typical granny square here, and then the solid granny here, and it alternates. You can choose how many rows. I typically, that looks like 3, but I changed to 4 down here. So we have your granny clusters and then the solid. Granny clusters and solid. And this is a pattern by Fiber Spider. And I've shown it to you several times because it's a pattern I really, really like. And it's easy and it works up quick. But he talked about being able to do something to alter it. And I've always wanted to do it. And when I went and looked up the granny merge this time, I found somebody who had actually had a tutorial on it. And I wanted to do it instead. Do you see the difference? One side is solid. One side is your typical granny cluster. And then you switch granny cluster and solid all the way down. You do one side one way, the other side the other way, and then you switch. And I really enjoyed doing this. And it's called the granny merge as well, but it's by a different podcaster, I guess you'd say. And she has a tutorial on doing this. It's super easy. It's no harder than the other one. You just have to pay attention at the corner and at the point. So I'm going to put this back on Faith. And this week I'm going to get the right names. I don't have 2 that are called Faith. So there's the shawl. And here is the back of it. And you can see I think you can see the flex in the yarn. See the flex? That's a viscose or viscose. So this is a good size shawl by using 2 of them. I really like the changes in blue colors, and I really like that it's alternating, like it's different on each side. Just a little bit different, and I enjoyed it. So that's what Faith is wearing, and it is the variation of this. And as you know, I will put a link to the pattern I did this time. I'll put a link in the description box below. Now, I did that rather quickly because I was enjoying it so much, so I had time to do something else. And I decided to go just go into my yarn and find something that spoke to me and then get a pattern for it. And my whole intent was to get a 1 skein pattern, do something that would take me 2.5 days maybe. And in fact, this only took me 2 days. And I'm going to put a picture right here of the yarn I used. You may remember me showing you this yarn. I purchased it last spring when Karen Hooley was doing a de-stashing. And so now Hope is wearing this. She's up too tall. I'm trying to shorten it so you can see it. Here we go. So here's Hope. She's wearing the scarf I made. I think it's called Just Bloom, and it's definitely a CJ Brady pattern. It is very long. It starts at one point out here, and it works towards the other point with increases. See how it's getting wider? And then you work back to the other point with decreases. And what I really like is you're working back and forth this way, and you're making this nice edge as you go. Now, when you're all done, she has you turn it and do sort of like the same idea on the other side. But you know what? I actually preferred it to be straight on the one side and the fancy on the other side, and wear it like that. So she's wearing this scarf. It's the equivalent of a one skein scarf, but I happened to buy that Malabrigo yarn that was 150 yards in a skein. So I had three little skeins, as you saw in the picture. I put together 450 yards, and I had some left over, and I left a little ball upstairs. But it made this lovely scarf, and I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. Feels very nice. It's a merino and silk from Malabrigo. I think they call it silky merino or something like that. And I liked it so much I went and bought some other colors, which I'll use later. So that's the second thing I made. And I made that in 2 days. It really worked fast. It was very, very easy. It's just double crochets and then the fancy step at the edge. So that's what that's what Hope is wearing this week. So those are the two finished objects this week. And I actually started a third object, and it's my whip. I'll show it to you later. All right, so moving on. Oh, I have something else I made, but that's another story. Moving on, I want to show you a little bit of yarn. I try most weeks to have yarn for you, although it won't happen every week. But I got a chance, I think I mentioned this, to buy some more yarn from Jimmy Beam. Now, if you remember, was it in the summer? I guess it was in the summer, late summer. Jimmy Beam had this sale, and they had mystery bags, and I actually went for it because the mystery bags had different categories, so it wasn't just 100% mystery. I could choose a color palette, or I could choose tweed or glitter or whatever. So they had them on again. If you remember, they were, well, a skein would normally be $29.95, and they had it about a third off. So skein in it was $19.95. There were 3 skeins in a package. They were either, certain ones were $87.95, I guess. Some were $85, but they were on sale for $57, and $52, I think, was the cheapest one. And they didn't sell them all, and I mentioned it to people. I don't know if they went and looked or not, but I got an email from them a couple weeks ago saying they were on sale even further. All of the packages, doesn't matter if they were originally 82 or 85 or 87, which were marked down to 52 and 57, they were all on for $40. $40 for 3 skeins, no matter what type. That is more than 50% off. So I bought some that were regularly $87.95 for $40. And this is what I got. I got the Merino Light in glitter, blues and grays. I got it again in glitter, purples and pinks. And I got it Merino Light plus tweed in reds and oranges. Remember, I really liked the tweed I got in the brown. So because I duplicated, like I got the glitter in blues when I bought it in the summer, I brought the blues out to show you because I ordered the blue glitter again, and I wanted to show you that it was not the same. Okay, these are the blues I got originally. This is almost teal, and that's blue, and this is a gray, but it is, here it has a blue tinge. On the screen it just looks nice and silvery gray. Anyway, those are the 3 I got last time. Here are the gray blues and grays that I got this time. There's a very dark blue. They call this one Thunderstorm. I really like a dark blue. Then there is this one that's more gray, but it's definitely blue grayish. They call that Aura. And here's one that is mixed. Blues, grays, and even some brown in it. And I like blues and browns together. And it is called Night in Chile. So just so you can see, these are the three I just got. I don't know if my hand's big enough. And these are the three that I got before. So different, totally different. Even the grays are not the same. So I'm really quite happy with these. But I liked them all last time, so I didn't think I'd be disappointed, and I really didn't expect to get duplication, and I didn't. So those are the blue gray glitter. I have to tell you, I really like Madeline Tosh, and all of these are called light MTL plus something. So Madeline Tosh light plus glitter. Okay. I won't be ordering it for a long time because now I've gotten a lot from her. But if I ever ordered again, I would have no problems. Next, I got the tweed. And I ordered red and orange, and I think I was prepared to be okay with it. But I am more than okay with this. First, I got, this is Madeline Tosh tweed. And like the other, it is 400 and some yards. Yeah, 420 yards. All of these are 420 yards. This is 80% superwash wool and 8% viscose, 2% nylon. And if that isn't the most beautiful red, I like a good deep red. This actually has black overtones in it. You can't see it in the lights there, but definitely here I can see the black overtones. And their tweed is not near as heavy with the viscose as some. It feels nice though because it's merino nylon, and theirs is always very fine. I noticed that, you know, some fingering weights are heavier than other fingering weights, but her fingering weights are fine. So that's the red. And then there is, they call this Rockinont. I don't know. You decide what the name of that is. And this is, it's an orange, but it's not an in-your-face bright orange. And it has a little bit of red tones in it. It gets a bit peachy in some places, but a little darker there. It's really a nice color, and I'm not sure I'd put it with red, but I definitely could put it with browns and golds. Yeah, you know, I'm not into oranges per se, but this is nice. It has some body to it. And finally, into my least favorite category is yellow, but this is gold. And the name of this is Glazed Pecan. Glazed Pecan. And it's definitely a deep goldy color. And despite my aversion to yellows and golds, I can live with this. It definitely, that makes you think fall. And if you put a brown with that, oh yes, that would be beautiful. If you really wanted to do, well, there's brown right there with it. Put those with a brown, you'd have a beautiful, beautiful fall item. So that's the tweeds in the red, orange, and I'm quite happy with those as well. And then finally, we get the pink and purple glitter. I didn't get pink and purple glitter last time. I just got plain pink and purple in the regular Madeline Tosh Light. So picture pink and purple because it's not going to be the way you picture it. So here are my pink and purples. Not bright and gaudy, very subtle. So this is the one that's considered purpley. And actually, the more I look at it, the more I like it. The color is called wilted. So maybe it's some purple plant wilting. But you know what? It's got sparkle in it. Can you see the sparkle? Yes, I think you can see some sparkle. And you know me and my sparkle. And actually, I really like this. It's not overdone purple. I think it'd be very nice with some other colors or even all by itself. I'm quite happy with that one. Now here's the one they consider pink, and it's a dusty pink, which is probably better than an in-your-face bright pink, and it's called Star Scatter Solid. The specs would be the same. They're 420 yards, and it has 90% superwash merino, 8% acrylic, and 2% stellina. Oh, acrylic instead of nylon. I'm used to having nylon in it. But you can see the sparkle, and it's nice shades of a dull, dusty pink. And yes, I quite like that. And in fact, if I really wanted to, these two could go together. Yeah. Yeah, it's got some of that same pink in it, in the purple. So that's really pretty. Now this one's a bit different, and it's called Mars Rover. Now, when you first look at it, it looks kind of a dirty color. It's because it has brown in it. See the brown? Now, I like pinks and browns, but it also has some teal. So it might look very nice next to a teal. It's a little bit different. Not something I would pick out of an array of yarns. But at the same time, I'm okay. I'm happy with it. Again, glitter. And you know, I've said I wanted to get out of my comfort zone with everything being blue and purple. And these have definitely taken me out of my comfort zone. Now there's a fair bit more pink there. And teal. And I like it. Now I like these two maybe better, but I do like it. I'm happy with it. So far, I've been 100% happy with everything I got from Jimmy Bean. And I have to tell you, not only is this price excellent, but their shipping is good. Because both times they sent me, I don't know if they base it on I think they base it on the weight, and they charge you exactly what it costs them. So when you pay the bill, they just put $5 shipping to hold the place, and then they figure out the shipping, and they send you get an option to pick regular shipping, or I think the other must be express, post, whatever, and you choose. I choose the cheapest one, and you know, it still came, I'm going to say in less than 2 weeks from when I ordered it to when I received it, because I got this week and I wasn't ready for it to be here yet. And the shipping was $32. Well, on 9 skeins of yarn, $32. I mean, that's just over $3 a skein. That's not bad at all. Some people charge you $24, $25 for 1 skein or 2 skeins. No, the shipping is fair. And my experience with Jimmy Bean, I did the first time call them with a concern, and they were good at responding to me. So all of my experience with Jimmy Bean has been excellent, and I would definitely recommend them in the future if you ever decide you're going to buy some hand-dyed yarn. So that's the end of Seeing Yarns, because we have much more to cover yet today. And the thing that we're going to cover today is your projects. Remember, I said, please send in your pictures. We're going to every, I don't know, maybe every month, every 6 weeks, whenever I have a free space, I guess, we're going to be showing your finished objects. So as you finish things, people, please send me pictures. I've saved these up for, a couple months now, and I'm ready to show you. And I have more come in from some of my brand new subscribers in the last few weeks. So that's been really great. So let's get started, and I'm going to move over a bit so that I have plenty of space to put pictures in up here. And we're going to start with this beautiful shawl, and it's from a brand new subscriber. She just subscribed in the last week, and it's a shawl, lovely shawl from Barb. And Barb says this is called the Polin, Polin shawl by Claudia Dingle from the, I think it's Sunbird Crochet. Not very often do people send me the names of the patterns, and I really do appreciate getting the names of the patterns and designer, and where you can, the yarn you used, because people often ask that. And I won't be linking all of these, but at least I can tell you the names. And if you have a specific question, you can always ask. So those are 3 poses of Barb showing us her shawl. Next, excuse me, I think I need to take a drink. Yeah, that's better. Next, I'm going to show you this scarf, if you want to call it that, from Bonnie. Bonnie is a local friend, and Bonnie won the yarn in my big giveaway on my birthday. You remember I gave away yarn to, I don't know, 6 different people, I think it was. And she took the yarn and made this scarf, and this is 2 views of the same scarf. And I was really happy to see somebody show me what they made with what they got. Bonnie also bought one of my mystery boxes and has already shown me one thing from the mystery box, and she's busy making something else. Next, we have another new viewer from a couple weeks, and she has sent 2 pictures showing me some socks she is making. I'm having a little trouble. It's kind of dark seeing the socks, but that's what she told me she's making, is here's a pair of socks. And next, we have some pictures from Renee. Renee is fairly new, but she's been with me a little bit, long enough to win one of my prizes last month in my birthday giveaway. And the first item from Renee is this scarf. I know they're not cables, but they remind me of cables in that scarf, and I'm impressed with anybody that can do that. And then next, you're seeing a sweater from her. I have to guess she's modeling it for us. And then finally, you see a shawl. Now, this is a smaller shawl, but it is a shawl from Karen Hooley. And I particularly noted that to you because we did do Karen Hooley as the featured designer last month. And that is actually on my to-do list. So thank you for showing it to us, Renee. Next, we have several items from Carrie, and Carrie is in Ontario, and she sends me pictures every time. I so appreciate it. And Carrie is very much into amigurumi, and she's making a lot of orders for Christmas. So that's what you're going to see from Carrie, starting with that pumpkin keychain, it looked like to me. And then we get a soother, a bear soother. And next, she has a complete full bear. And the next one, I have to laugh. I told her I really liked the unicorn, and I looked at it again, and it's not a unicorn. I don't see a horn. It must be a horse. But with all the beautiful colors in the mane, it makes me think of a unicorn. And then finally, she has a set. She's put all her bear things together along with an Afghan, a baby blanket. And they're quite cute, and I'm sure whoever gets that will be very pleased. And then next we have a scarf from Jane. And Jane is also here in Ontario. Jane won a prize from me through Reggie way back when I first started. So she's been with me since practically my first show. So that's a pretty scarf with all those shades of pink. And next we have Debbie, and Debbie sends me pictures all of the time as well. And she's been a loyal follower since way back in the beginning. And I'm going to start by showing you this fillet owl. Now, the quality of the picture isn't quite the best. I told her she needs to put that owl on a dark background so we can see the holes. But hopefully you can see the owl in the white on white. I hope you can see the owl. It's a fillet owl. And then I'm going to jump to, she's done a couple of purses. Purse 1 and then purse 2. I have a feeling these are small. I'm not sure if they're just meant to be change purses or what the exact size is. Then she has this lovely shawl, and I don't believe she told me the pattern for that shawl. It looks like I've seen it somewhere before. And then finally, we have more, but in this group, she has a sweater she made for her granddaughter. And look at all that furry fluff around the edge. I'm sure her granddaughter is just going to love having that. And then Debbie told me that she decided she was having a sisters get together. So she made each of them a cowl, more than a cowl, it's like a capelet, and ear warmer, matching ear warmer in their best color or their favorite color. And so you're going to see 4 of them. I can't remember. Oh, the first one is orangey red. Second one's in purples. Then we get one that's mostly browns and oranges. And then we get one that's sort of greens and blues. And one last picture to see the 4 sisters together. She sent that this week. She's currently at her sister. They're in age range from left to right. The oldest sister on the far right, they're at her place in Washington State, and it's the first time all 4 of them have been together in 20 years, she told me. So I appreciate you sending me that update picture, Debbie, and I hope you guys had a great time. So continuing on, my friend Rose, who lives here in town, who's working with me on making shawls to give to the seniors residents at Christmas. She has made a shawl, and it is, sorry, I should be over here. It is a granny merge, and she used a Karen cake called strawberry trifle. And she's still busy making lots more shawls like I am. And finally, we have some items that Cindy has shown me. Cindy used to live in London up the road from me and now lives in Costa Rica. And I showed you a number of her lovies, one of my other shows way back in the spring. So I'm just going to put a quick view of 3 pictures showing a bunch more of her lovies in their large blankets. And then she sent me a picture of a summer top she made in my favorite color. And next we can see here a picture of a mosaic blanket she made. This is not something I would ever attempt, but what an amazing job you have done on those, Cindy. And finally, Cindy also won one of the prizes in my giveaway for my birthday, and part of her prize was a free pattern. And so she ordered one of the CJ Brady patterns, a 1 skein pattern. She hasn't got her package yet, but I could send her the pattern. And she right away got busy and pulled out some yarn she had and made this first one. Enjoyed it so much, she decided to make another one. And here are a couple of shots of the other one. And meanwhile, we appreciate you taking them outside, Cindy. We get to see a little bit of the landscape of where you're living. So that brings us to the end of the gallery of pictures. So I'm going to do this as a regular feature, and I'd like to come up with a name for this feature. Maybe you have some ideas. I know on another channel they do it and they call it show and tell, so I don't want to call it show and tell. So we got to come up with another name when I'm going to do this. I won't be doing this kind of slide the rest of the year. I'll do another one in the new year, but keep in mind, in December, I have to do the winter, what's it called? Winter Yarny YouTube Hop. And you know that when I do that, I like to show some of your projects as well. So by the middle of December, you've got about, 5-6 weeks to go. I will be showing what I'm making for the Winter Yarny YouTube Hop. For those that don't know what it is, go back and check out the other 4. Well, we've done 3 seasons. This is the end of it for the year. So any winter item, whether it be an item that's winter or colors that are winter, I'll even take Christmassy since it's almost Christmas when winter comes. I will be doing that in December. So keep that in mind. Okay, so what do we want to do next? Okay, I know you're all waiting to hear more about the shawl game. So if you remember, last week we started, let me just get out what I have to get out here. Get some things out of the way. We started the shawl game. And there's my box of yarns, and there's the 4 I didn't use this week, and there's one I used this week, and here's the other one. Oh, you aren't seeing anything, but anyhow, there are the six colors in my box of yarn. And there's the 2 dice. I kept them in the box. So I want to tell you a few things about it before we move on to the next step. This was color 1. It has a little bit of teal in it. And this was color 2. First thing I want to tell you, I started it, and it's a very simple pattern, really. It is your typical moss stitch. I didn't realize that for quite a while. So that means it's all single stitches. Even the other patterns, the 6 choices, are using single crochets, and they tell you to use a 2.75 hook. So I did start, and I did the beginning base, and I couldn't really see what I was doing. I couldn't tell where I was putting my stitches, and I said, enough of this. I want to enjoy this. And it was going to be very tiny. So I ripped it out, and I moved on to, this is my furls hook, and this is a 3.5. I was going to use 3.75, but I decided 3.5 was a big enough jump from 2.75. Now I can see the stitches. That was the first problem. Okay. So put that aside. I got started and did the base. And there is the beginning. It's quite small because you're using a small hook and single crochets. Then I was to move into this color and do what they called pattern 6. Well, what I didn't realize until I went to do it is Pattern 6 actually used 2 colors. And I look back at the instructions and it said, when you happen to pick the pattern that used 2 colors, and there are 2 of them that do that, roll the die again and pick another color. Well, I had just decided, because I wasn't on camera to roll, that I would just use this color with it. Okay? It went with it, and I had just finished using it, so I thought, okay, I'll put this in as the accent color. So then I got working on the pattern, and the pattern had what it called a spike single crochet or something like that. I looked up what they said. I followed the pattern and I did the spike where they said it, and it came in about the well, it came in the very first row, and then you changed colors and it came in again. Well, I want to show you a picture. I hope I can find it. I took a picture when I had almost completed section 2. Here it is. Now, I don't know if you can see, but what I found is there's got to be a problem in that pattern, because the first time you see it, it grows a little too much. But the second time you see it, it grows unbelievable, because you're putting like a chain 3 in between the stitches, and it was expanding terrible. See, this is the way the side should go up. Nice, smooth increase. But that is jumping, and I looked at that and I said, there's no way I can do this pattern. It is expanding too much. So the first time I tried to do their drop stitch without all of the extra chains in it, and it wasn't working the best. See the drops, and then it was hard to do the next row, and I said, okay, I got through that, but you know what, I don't think I'm going to do pattern number 6. So what I did was simply the base pattern. I picked it up from the bottom and I finished color 2 in the base color. So for those of you that are following along, and I am so excited because a lot of you told me, oh, you really liked this idea of the shawl crochet game. And I know that most of you would not be buying, all of you maybe, would not be buying this kit. One person said they were going to look at it and maybe they bought it. But the rest told me they were going in their stash. Good way to use up leftovers and pick out 6 colors and follow along. So you've got 6 colors. You've numbered them 1 through 6. And I'm going to tell you right now that the very first color we used was number 6, if you're catching up. And it's so tiny, it won't take much to catch up. Section, or color number 6. And then the next section was color number 2. So we've done 2 sections. And a lot of you, I could tell by your questions, were just going to use a pattern you had and divide it. And because you asked me how many rows were in each section. And there are 16 rows in each section. Now I've got my yarn all twisted up here, so give me a second. Now, this is what I ended up doing. Very plain, but I don't care. It's very tiny, and I will check out the other patterns. And if I get to one that totally doesn't make sense, like this one, I'll just do plain. But anyway, there we are, the first 2 sections. Now, one last sort of conclusion I came to is I wish I had done 3 with you, because these took me no time at all. In fact, I ripped the whole thing out and redid it again in no time, because it's very small at the beginning and I know it's going to get wider at the end. So I decided that, in fact, I had to rip it out a second time because I made a mistake in my increase back here, and I had to take half of this green out again to get it correct. But you can see it's growing, and I'm about ready to take in the ends here. But I did not cut this because you don't know. You might roll that color, which is number 2, again. I hope not, but Anyway, you might roll the same color twice in a row, so you don't cut it until you've changed it. But after we roll it, if it's not the same color, I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to weave in these other ends. I don't like a lot of ends hanging around. So I decided that today we are going to roll the next 3 sections, both the color and the pattern number. And I'll get 3 sections done for next week, and I'll keep doing 3s until it gets to be a little too much, and then I'll go down to 2 each week until we get to the real big part, and we'll probably only do 1, because you know my aim is to finish this before the end of the year. And let's hope I keep changing colors so we use them all up. Okay, so is everybody following what's going on here? All right. I'm not going to do pattern 6. It makes no sense. It doesn't fit. There's no way I wanted, like, this would be over here, and up here would be like way out. And all of a sudden, you know, we'd be getting a circle before you knew it. So the next step today is to get these dice out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll them onto here, and remember, blue is the color yarn, and green is the pattern. So I'm going to roll them. So I'm not gonna, I'll show you. Blue is 6. That's the color 6, and the pattern is 3. So I'm going to write that down. 6 for the color, pattern 3. Well, I already know this is 6 because we already used it. So we'll be going back to this color, which is quite all right. And I'll look up pattern 3 later. All right. So now let's do it again. And hopefully this time we'll get a different. Yep. This time we have blue is 4 and pattern is 2. So I'll write that down. 4 and 2. Now, let's see what color 4 is, because we're going to go back to this, and then color 4. Here's color 4. It's kind of the charcoal with, it's just charcoal color. So next to that, we're going to get that. And then pattern number 2. I think pattern 2 is fairly plain like this. And a third one. And this time we have color 2 and pattern 4. Color 2 and pattern 4. Now, color 2, I believe is this. Yeah. Okay, so we've already done this. Then we're going to add this and this and that one again. It'll be down here. Hopefully we'll get red soon. 2, 4, 6. Okay, we got to roll odd numbers to get these. 1, 3, and 5. Alrighty, so I'm going to recap. Now, if you're just doing 16 rows, you don't care about the pattern number. But we started with color 2 back at the beginning of this. Sorry, we started with color 6. We started with color 6. Then last week we did color 2. Now, this coming week, we're going to do color 6, color 4, and color 2. In the pattern this coming week, with color 6, we're doing pattern 3. With color 4, we're doing pattern number 2. And with color 2, we're doing pattern number 4. In case you have different patterns in yours, I'm going to tell you that. But I realize most of you have just picked something plain and you're only going to do 16 rows each time and follow my colors. So for the coming week, it's colors 6, 4, and 2. Now I got to get these dice back in here. Alrighty, next item of business. Because I made my 500, we have to talk about a prize. So this is what I've decided to do as the prize. It's going to be a little bit of a mystery, a little bit of a surprise for you, but I'll tell you what you're going to get without showing you. I have some skeins of yarn, so I'm going to make a package. They all go together. And in that package, you're going to get 1 skein of fingering yarn. I think it's a makeup of merino, nylon, and sparkle. But with the fingering yarn, I'm also going to put in one of those furl hooks you saw me open last week. And because it's a fingering yarn, I'm going to put in a 4mm crochet hook with it. Also, the package will consist of, and it won't be this one, but it'll consist of a cake cozy. This is how a cake cozy works. You put your caked up yarn, this is a fingering yarn, in the cozy, and it holds it together. I put mine in upside down. Okay, it had a top and bottom. This one you'd have no choice because it's sewn at the bottom. Different ones are made different. This one is a double one and this is a single one. But I went and bought material and I'm going to make my own signature yarn cozies. So you'll get a skein of yarn, a hook, a yarn cozy, and you will get 1 free CJ Brady pattern. In order for me to do that, you have to have an account in Ravelry. So you need to go and open a Ravelry account if you don't have one. It works very, very easy. I already did it for one of the winners in my birthday celebration, and it works slick as could be, and she was really happy. Since you're getting 1 skein of yarn, I'm including a 1 skein pattern. Although CJ Brady has others, you can choose any of her patterns you want. So that's what I'm going to do, is put together that package. But I was so very excited about the fact that I not only hit 500, I hit 600 in one weekend. I went up, I've got to say, about 115, 20 people in 3 days. And it just blew my mind away, and I was so excited. So I decided I would give away 2 packages. Now, there's different yarn in each. There'll be a number 4 hook in both. There'll be a cozy in both, and the opportunity to get a pattern in both. The yarn in one is sparkle, in the other it's not. And it'll just be random. But I'm going to pick 2 winners, 2 packages. You have to put a comment down below. At this point, I guess I don't really care what the comment is, but you know what? Just to make sure people that don't want to participate, I better pick a word. So how about package? Package, because you're getting a package, a surprise package. So if package is in your comment, you'll be entered in, and it has to be done before next Tuesday, which is November the 1st, by 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because after supper is when I open it up and do the drawing and figure out who's winning. And while we're saying that, next week is the 1st of November, so Kiki is here to say happy Halloween next Monday. And next week, you'll see her in a new dress. And this time, I'm actually going to show you the 2 skeins of yarn I'm going to use for November. So it won't be pretty, but it'll be November colors. So that's what we're going to do. One more thing before I say goodbye, and that is I need to show you the whip I am working on. Now, I won't get into detail, but I am working with this Lion brand called Sunset Nights. It is variegated from light green to dark green, and I'm working on another shawl. I will have this finished for next week. And so we'll talk more about this next week, but I wanted you to know I am working on another shawl, and I'll tell you about the pattern and the yarn and everything next week because we are running short of time. So I am going to be focusing on shawls up until Christmas. And this goes in here with all of this. So next week I'll not only be showing you that shawl finished, I'll be announcing the winners for my 500 and 600 subscribers. How exciting that was for me. And the other thing I'm going to do next week is I'm going to do another slideshow, but this time it's going to be a bit of a slideshow of the ponchos. Some of you said you cannot get on Facebook and see what I've made. And a lot of you would have missed the things I showed in the past. So what you're going to see is a little bit of what I've done in the past. Some of you have seen it before, but I'll do a quick slideshow of ponchos that I am now going to put in the Facebook marketplace and try to sell before Christmas. So I thought I would show you pictures before they're gone. So that's what's happening for next week. I hope I'll see you all again. Tune in, and until then, happy hooking.